Movie notes on Transformers 2007 film, 29 September 2024 viewing. I just finished viewing this today, Sunday, 29 September 2024. I'm going to go through my notes on it. Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle. So the movie, the description I came up with for this viewing is it's a fiction film about transforming vehicles being tracked/studied by the government and a male civilian who befriends one of the transforming vehicles and tries to help save them all with the help of a female civilian. And the government. But like, yes. So there's the civilians and there's the government, and then the government, some of the government people. So the female civilian and some of the government people of government people. It's like car nerd meets like, ooh, look at that cool geometric cube kind of stuff, wrapped into one action and adventure kind of. Don't forget the girl or woman with skin tight clothes and not necessarily all the way covered up, that kind of stuff. And I have a snack as I go through my notes. 10 red grapes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I don't know if I've done grapes. If I have not done it frequently as a snack on this channel. And I was like, this is a good one for while I'm talking. I don't have to cut it up. I just plop it in my mouth. And so I grew up, so I was born early to mid 1990s. And this movie came out and I was in high school. And it was a interesting one because I'd already started running. And there's a lot of running in this movie. And it was one of those movies where I just kind of like looked at it a little bit different. And it was like, not all action and adventure movies are like incorporate physicality for the action, but this one does. So it did kind of like capture my attention in that sense of, cars require physical exertion to like take care of from the human, and running through the streets with the cube requires both legs and arm, right? Physical exertion. And so it was like, it was one for that actually, like, that piqued my attention and caught my attention in that way with this one. Bumblebee's a cutie. Yeah, that's right. My dream car, however, when I was growing up was a small vehicle that shall remain unnamed in case some of my soulmatey and or soulmaties someday want to get me my dream car when I was growing up. It is not a Camaro, no. Though it did come primarily it did have a bunch of yellow. That's all I'll say. It was like part of its signature. No, I'm not gonna, okay. So tangentially, no, it's spurred by the physicality of this movie. Dream life, running /work/academia balance. And right, the academia could be the work as well, but who knows, maybe before I start my work shift for the day, I write for 2 hours. Like that kind of thing. Right, so there's running /work/academia. I was thinking, what would be like a good, how about for like in academia, so I'm getting a PhD in Italy, say, half workout a day. So that'd be like half an hour. That could work, especially if it's like a day where I'm like, if it's nothing or half an hour, just do the half an hour, right? One workout a day is like an hour. That could be like an hour of running or an hour of stationary bicycle or something. Or there could be 2 workouts a day, which has kind of been, of the past year, that's kind of been my norm. And I'm like, it's great for now, but it might be a bit much for in academia. And then what about the critters? Like, are they going to have their own little, critter corner? We're going to have an at-home gym and the squirrels are in there and they get to watch, and they're like, but what about our climbing? So do we have like cat posts that they can climb, that kind of stuff? And then perhaps the Tanis diet for academia, 1 1/2 workouts per day. So that'd be like, an hour of running or walk running and then like half an hour of strength training. That might end up being like the perfect thing. But got to be in academia and find that balance. I'm finding, no, I'll leave it at that. That's for the health and wellness check-in. Okay. I've been experimenting with my volume, and some things are actually easier with 1 hour instead of 2 1-hour chunks. So I was like, it's good to know for academia. Okay, all right. The next kind of note from this notes is uploading every day on a second channel, academia/research focus for that second channel, might be good as a way of communicating it is my channel and not the channel of whatever institution I may be at. I brought this up yesterday, reiterating it now. It's like, yeah, it doesn't mean I have to, so like, you know, the work week might be 5 8-hour days, but that doesn't mean what I'm posting is work, right? The channel is my own, so it's like it's a hobby, right? And it's a life component on the work-life balance of making sure what I do at the institution or whatever doesn't take over everything. The YouTube channel in that sense is the life part of, or not the life, but a life part of being like, how do I balance it and put in like I'm taking time to stop and be like, can I concisely describe this? Because if I can compartmentalize it and step away a whole bunch easier and enjoy my life, right? So huge for me. That's a good realization. Okay, and then other thing, it's kind of sciencey, the movie. So potential resolution for Lowry microdiffraction stuff. Because at the end of the day, right, we don't want to have to go all legal. We don't have to be like copyright laws have been violated. That's not the ideal solution. Can I come up with a potential resolution? Corrections to any peer-reviewed journal articles if the published numbers are off, so that the right numbers are there. I don't know if that. Well, I'm just leaving it at that. Right, I wasn't an author, so for the final publications, so far as I'm aware, right? So. Not taken down, just a correction, which is, I think, pretty easy, straightforward. People click on the article and it's right there. And I think the original article remains kind of the same. So, corrections are not necessarily the biggest deal. And then it was a professor at UC Berkeley gets fired for violating some work-life balance stuff and gets hired at Caltech, California Institute of Technology. He and the guy at the university in Texas used the more easily accessible method for future measurements, as Lowry microdiffraction is relatively inaccessible. They want to reach as many as possible, so go with the more mainstream method. Yeah, so what we were doing, there was a different team, I think it might have been in Great Britain, that was using a more easily accessible method. I was like, if they really want impact, or if we really want, but like them, they could just do that method. Versus Lowry microdiffraction requires the facilities are relatively or comparatively inaccessible. So if they really wanted to try and like spread the method or what they're doing and make it accessible, there's a different method they could use. They would have to analyze the samples with that method, but I mean, since the groundwork's already done, I would imagine it's like they could literally have a paper and just be like, the method's different, but the takeaways are the same, and like here's the numbers with this method, right? And then they're not alone either. There's kind of like a earth science community, right? So they kind of can go for being the most impactful within the earth science community with the method for the application, that kind of stuff. So there we go. Inspired by Transformers, transforming the situation into peaceful resolution. There we go. So movie notes on Transformers 2007 film, 29 September 2024 viewing.